In our society, Sigmund Freud is often revered as a revolutionary genius. But the reality is that the father of psychoanalysis built his theory on questionable grounds, to say the least. This video will reveal how Freud developed psychoanalysis based on a handful of distorted case reports tailored to fit his speculations, often formulated while he was under the influence of cocaine. In the book Freud's Patients, A Book of Lives, historian Mikkel Borch-Jakobsen summarizes Freud's trajectory as follows. With few ambiguous exceptions, Freud's cures were largely ineffective, if not outright destructive, for his patients. Even in a book that tries to maintain some diplomacy, the scientific credibility of Freud's theories and therapy, psychologists Seymour Fisher and Roger Greenberg are forced to admit that Freud based his theories on a few vaguely documented clinical cases. In 2 of these cases, the patients simply fled therapy due to the disastrous experiences they were enduring. In 2 others, Freud conducted the analysis without any direct contact with the patient. Freud's most famous case, Dora, is a striking example of how he resembled more of a manipulator than a therapist. He attempted to impose on the 18-year-old the idea that she was in love with her abuser. Known as Herr K. Freud not only ignored the patient's accounts of abuse, but also used her suffering to legitimize his absurd ideas. This is not just unethical, it is pure psychological abuse. The Dora case, in fact, exemplifies Freud's bizarre interpretations. Dora told Freud about a dream in which a house was on fire. Her father stood by her bedside and woke her. She quickly got dressed. Her mother wanted to stop and save her jewelry box, but her father said, "I refuse to let myself and my 2 children burn because of your jewelry box." They ran outside, and as soon as she was out of the house, she woke up. According to Freud, the endangered jewelry box symbolized the virginity her father was failing to protect from Herr K. Another case that exposes Freud's criminal attitude is that of Sergei Pankajev, reported by Freud under the pseudonym The Wolf Man. Pankajev was sexually abused by a family member during childhood and, despite Freud declaring him cured, he remained in treatment with psychoanalysts for 6 decades. Moreover, the psychoanalytic movement provided financial support to Pankajev throughout his life, likely to keep him silent. For instance, Kurt Eisler, a former student of Freud, discouraged Pankajev from speaking to the media, as the fact that he still suffered from mental health issues, despite being one of Freud's most famous cured patients, would damage Freud's and psychoanalysis's reputations. In 1971, Pankajev, the Wolfman, published The Wolfman, Pankajev's Memoirs, along with essays by Freud and Ruth Mack Brunswick through Basic Books, where he described the mental devastation and emotional collapse caused directly by psychoanalytic treatment. In February 1896, Freud submitted an article for publication in which he claimed to have treated 13 cases of hysteria using his new method. In a lecture 2 months later, the number magically grew to 18, and not just treatments, but cures. It was all a grand farce. During the same period, in letters to his friend and mentor Wilhelm Fliess, he openly admitted his lack of therapeutic success. On March 29, 1897, nearly a year after his historic lecture, Freud confessed the following to Fliess. "My work is a real torture for me. I keep encountering the same difficulties and have not completed a single case." Freud, who marketed himself as a pioneer and healer of mental illnesses, privately admitted the complete failure of his method. Meanwhile, in public, he inflated the number of cures, creating a facade that many still accept unquestioningly today. Psychoanalysis is a well-crafted illusion, sustained by manipulations and distortions that Freud romanticized as discoveries. Based on a few poorly documented cases, this theory not only failed to help, but in many cases brought more suffering to patients. Far from being a science, psychoanalysis became a belief system that glorifies illusion over truth, surviving only through repetition and the cult of Freud's personality. It is time to see it for what it truly is, an empty doctrine that has caused more harm than good.